whenever we have a good defender on the show, I like to sort of, mainly because I don't have this perspective, but I like to get their perspective on what makes a great defender. So some of the things you just mentioned were size, which you naturally have. And then you mentioned accepting the challenge, which speaks to, I think, a level of competitiveness.
Yeah.
But what else? There's got to be certain things that go through your mind depending on the player or the team you're playing against. In your opinion, what makes a great defender?
Yeah, I mean, you made some good points. Like first having length and size, but then also being able to move. You know, like PJ Tucker's a good example. Like he's not the tallest or like the longest, but like for his position, like he can guard 1 through 5 essentially, because one, he's smart. Two, he has good instincts. He competes, right? Like if you don't compete every possession, you're not going to be a good defender. You know, you have to have a care factor. And then like lastly, like you have to be able to, what did I say the first one was? Move your feet. Like if you can't move laterally and then you don't have good length, like it's going to be hard to be a good defender. For me, it's just like, you got to know what the other guys want to do, first of all, right? Like for you coming off left to right versus right to left off your pin downs, like there's a difference in how you want to shoot or what you want to do versus a pump fake, pass it back, get game and come back off the other way. You just got to know guys' tendencies. And then, I don't know, man, you boil it down, like care factor, the physical attributes to do it. And then just having the knowledge of the game, you know, having some instincts of like where guys want to go, what they're trying to do, like understanding fakes to where they're trying to actually go. You know, there's a lot of cerebralness that goes into it.
Yeah. So speaking of instincts, because I don't know your exact stats on this the last couple of years, but I know you're up there in terms of deflections per minute amongst the league leaders defensively. And I'm curious, when you speak to instinct, are you thinking about a risk-reward balance when you're on defense? Are you at all thinking about this is a bad time to go for the ball, this is a good time to go for the ball, or is it all just so natural and it's happening so fast?
Yeah, when it turns out well, it's natural and it's just happening. Now, this is a great question because this happened to me the other night when we played Philly at home. Tyrese Maxey came off a screen with George Niang, and I knew Maxey was about to throw it back to George, but like in my head, I was telling myself to be solid, but like my body naturally took over, and like I knew Maxey was throwing it to George, but like that split second of me thinking instead of just reacting and playing the game, I missed the steal. George catches the ball, hits a 3, go up 5 with like 30 seconds left. So I really do think that like if you just react instead of thinking, like once you start thinking on the basketball court, usually bad stuff happens, right? Like offensively, defensively, like if you're thinking about what's going on or you're thinking about what's about to happen, it's I don't know, in my experience, usually bad plays happen, either turnovers, miscommunication, you know, you get beat. But yeah, I think if you just play off of instinct on defense, you know, it's a lot of anticipation. It's a lot of like recognizing what's happening and what you think is going to happen. But yeah, a lot of times when I'm locked in and playing the best defense possible, like I'm not really thinking about anything. You know, I'm just kind of out there reacting. Like my body knows what's going to happen. My mind knows what's going to happen. And I'm just running around, you know, being a pest.
So I can't speak to great individual defense, but there is a mental component to this beyond just instinct, and there's a preparation component. You spoke to sort of knowing guys' tendencies. I would call it thinking versus awareness, and like having mental awareness of what's happening, play recognition, who you're guarding, time and score, just having all of that in the back of your mind versus thinking about every play. If you think about every play, there's going to be a lag, and sort of it's this sort of mind-body connection of just awareness. It's constant awareness. I felt that at times offensively, for sure. I felt that at times offensively.
It's like the difference between thinking and knowing.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
Like if you have to think about what's going on, you're going to be a half second slow because you have to process it. Now your brain's telling your body what to do. Like if you already know what's going on, it's like that extra 0.7 seconds. Like I'm already stepping one way, or I'm already rotating to somebody. You know, part of that I'll credit that to Rondo and LeBron. Man, we talked about it, I think, last podcast. Like they're just so smart, and like seeing them operate for a couple of years and seeing like how they would like communicate and think and point and tell people where to go before stuff happened. It's like I've tried to take a little bit of that with me, and obviously I think I'm going to get better at it the more I'm away from them, and kind of put pressure on myself to be good at it. But it's that thing of like they know what's going on, so they can already. It's like chess, right? Like they're 2 moves ahead.
Yeah, we talked about this with Kyle Korver last episode. I'd say 3 to 4 guys have talked about LeBron doing this in the show over the last year, of him knowing the other team's plays before they happen, and basically just calling out the plays to you guys.
Knowing plays, knowing player tendencies, coach tendencies. Like it's the amount of knowledge that he has stored in his head is phenomenal. Like I've taken that, like me playing guys now, like my first couple of years in the league, like I didn't understand like certain guys love to go to the left, certain guys are not really trying to get to the rim. They're trying to play in the mid range, or certain guys are going to flop, or, different things. And like now for me, like I know all this stuff. Like I have the encyclopedia in my head. Like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to look at the scouting report. Like I already know what this player is going to do. And that's something that they enlightened me on, that I didn't know you could be that detailed and have that much knowledge about the other team and the other players. And it's just another weapon to have.